my headphones. But no, there's nobody at the radio station helping us out. So instead of calling the show today TexAgs Radio, we're going to call it TexAgs Stream. That's how we roll here. We're still presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're still here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. But goodness gracious, where's everybody? Nobody but the people on the stream are going to hear that, so I guess it doesn't matter. That being said, congratulations to A.J. Minter winning the World Series for the Atlanta Braves yesterday. They kicked the Astros behind. Gosh, I hated every second of that game, but a very well-deserving World Series win for the Atlanta Braves. Congratulations to A.J. and his teammates. And my friends, I can finally say that I'm official. That's right. The Nunos are moving into their house today. My wife's going to do the bulk of the work because I've got a long radio. I think my radio show today is going to go 9 hours. It may go 12, right? Like we're just going to keep going all day. And, sorry, hon, I couldn't be there. I had to work all day. But we're finally moving into our house, so it's going to be mad chaos there. We sold our house back in Sugar Land back in May, and our stuff has been in storage since then. So I really feel like this stay in the apartment, as much as it feels like we're visiting. Like it hasn't felt like home yet because all of our stuff's in storage. I have loved living in the apartment because it's, we've been minimalist there and all of our, we're just together a lot and we're walking together. It kind of feels like the way COVID started in the beginning. We're just always together, which has been great. But this dream of Aggieland started on January the 20th of last year. And here we are in November, and it's finally going to feel like really home here afterwards. So that's the personal note as we get into the college football playoff rankings that came out yesterday. Dreams are made for A&M, and before the season, the dream was for a national championship. That natty probably not going to happen, but the rankings did come out. A&M coming in at number 14. Top 4, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan State, Oregon, all there in that respective order. 7 SEC teams in the top 25, including Mississippi State. We're going to break that down here on TexAgs Stream, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And with that, we begin the Go Hour with my friend Olin Buchanan, our Heisman Trophy voter, TexAgs columnist, and my good buddy. Good morning to you, OB.
Good morning. Congratulations for getting in the house, now the apartment. I had to live in an apartment once for about 6 months with the wife and child. And there was just 3 of us.
Right.
And a dog. But you've got like 2 dogs, right? 2 dogs, 4 kids.
And 2 bunnies.
You got rabbits as well.
We've got Annalise has 2 rabbits, yes. So
usually that ends up meaning you got 20 rabbits.
Yeah, no, ours I think they're fixed.
Oh.
Do they fix bunnies? I don't know.
I don't know.
They're both boys. So
well, then you're right.
Yes, I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think they're both Harvey and Harlow. I believe they're both boys. And if Annalise heard me say that out loud, she'd be really mad at me. The bunnies are her thing.
Well, I'll say this: despite what some say these days, if you have only the female can give birth, so I think you're safe.
Yeah, we're safe. I love the bunnies; they're cute to look at, but the hay goes everywhere, and I'm constantly, it's like 9 o'clock at night, and she panics. Dad, we don't have enough veggies for the bunnies. You got to go to H-E-B. Getting ready for bed. All right. But they're great to have, and it brings great joy to them. And so the movers should be getting into our house around 9, and I will be able to join at some point today afterwards. I'm not going to make it a long work day. I'll do the show, maybe prepare a little bit for tomorrow, and get out of here by lunchtime and help my wife navigate through that chaos. And then the other chaos begins, which is picking up kids from schools, because the buses don't drop off our children at school, well, the older ones, the 3 older ones, until almost 5 o'clock. That's a little too late.
Yeah.
And they don't go to our neighborhood yet because it's a new neighborhood, so it's just not part of it. So it's constant go, 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 go.
Well, I assume you got 2 at College Station Middle School?
No, I have Welburn and
they're at Welburn.
They're at Welburn and Pecan Trail.
I don't know Pecan Trail.
Pecan Trail is the intermediate school, and then Isla's at the Greens Prairie Elementary.
There's been so many new schools just since my son got out of there. So now that he's in high school, I forgot. I know Welburn because they were building it when I was having to pick up my son. But anyway, congratulations. I know how hard it can be living in an apartment, especially that many people confined in such a small space.
It's been fun.
That's a nice way to put it. Fun.
Like there's parts that I hate, obviously, right? Like no conversation can be unheard. I hear everything the kids are talking about. They hear everything we're talking about, and Any flirtation, they can hear it. Any argument between the kids, we can hear it. I go to bed usually around 9:30 to 9:50, in that range. And sometimes the twins don't get home from soccer until about 9:30. So as soon as they come in, loud, the shoes, but it's been a lot of fun times as well. We haven't watched as much TV as we used to because we're all together doing stuff. So that part's been great. But let's talk a little bit about these rankings.
Okay.
OB. I look at it, and I think for the most part, it is fair, right? For the most part, it's fair. I had A&M ranked higher than 14 yesterday. I think I told you 10. But I knew that was me having maroon goggles. But I thought the victory over Alabama and the way they've kind of navigated through injuries would bump them up a little bit. All said and done, they're going to be okay if they win the games in front of them. We didn't expect them to win the national championship with those 2 losses early on. I'm happy to see Mississippi State ranked high because it looks good for A&M now.
Yeah, I have no issue with it where A&M is. If I was, the only thing is I would put them ahead of Auburn. You mentioned the Alabama win, and Auburn has 2 losses, right? So A&M has 2 losses. Auburn has 2 losses. One of their losses is to Penn State. Okay, I guess that's a good loss, if you want to call it that.
Right.
A&M lost to Mississippi State, but A&M has a win over Alabama. I would think that would, but it's not enough to get upset over because you play this week. If you win, you're going to be ranked ahead of them anyway.
Right.
So, just win.
I thought they got it right with Oklahoma.
I do too.
They may be 9-0, but who they beat, how they beat them, and some of their wins, kind of like Notre Dame, have been not impressive at all. As for Cincinnati, I feel bad for them because they've probably done everything right, but there's the eyeball test and the schedule test, and it just doesn't match up with some of the best teams in college football.
No, it really doesn't. Their big win is the win over Notre Dame, the same team that went into overtime to beat a bad Florida State, same team that escaped Toledo to win by 3 points, the same team that beat bad Virginia Tech by 3. They say it's more the brand than the team that you beat. If you take the 7-1 Notre Dame out, Cincinnati's opponents, FBS opponents, are combined 17-31.
Yeah.
So that's at some point you have to acknowledge that. And by the way, they struggled to beat Navy by a touchdown. They struggled with Tulane. It looked bad, 31-17, but that was a game late. They scored some late, but that was a very competitive game most of the time. So you have to look at it, not just the record, and understand what's going on. That's why I get frustrated when the national show before us, they're like, they're incredulous.
Yeah.
For some reason, ESPN is carrying the Cincinnati flag, and I think it's just because it's the underdog big story, but you've got to actually delve into this and realize that, they're good, but when you're playing a bunch of bad teams, it's easy to look good.
Yeah, I think that's all said. We're going to break that down throughout the show. I'd like to say hello to everybody in the room, but I also want to make a comment. It's ridiculous. No one is at the radio station. Ridiculous. Say hi to Dalton. Good morning to you, Dalton.
Oh, good morning. Happy Wednesday.
So you're in a good mood.
Yeah, I got coffee. Nothing to complain about here. Fun watching the ranking show last night. Maybe the thing that perked my ears more than anything was hearing Herb Street call, was it Iowa State, Baylor, and Oklahoma State? What was the word, Richard? Behemoths. And I don't think anybody's ever described those 3 schools as behemoths except maybe Kansas.
Well, Herb Street has always been an Oklahoma fan for some reason. You remember last year he was pushing Oklahoma with 2 losses.
Yes, he was.
And he said, well, they're better now. As if, okay, the games don't count until October, right? So whatever you lost doesn't matter until October. So he was pushing Oklahoma with 2 losses. So I'm not surprised he's looking at other teams and trying to bump them up because they're remaining on Oklahoma's schedule.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go to the News and Social Center and say hello to Anna Rosa Peterson. Of course, word of the week is allowed.
I just wanted to make sure it was appropriate. Didn't want to take away from our topic of college football playoff rankings.
But let's do business.
Exactly.
And then we'll do some fun, maybe in an 820 segment. How about that?
Sounds good. But yeah, reminder of our topic. Bayou Ag says, I think we are slotted correctly because of early losses, but there's a lot of room for growth. If we win next 2, we could get 5 to 6 spots. Or the 5 to 6 spot, excuse me. Never know about other teams, though, because they could lose. So,
yeah, look, people get worked up about the rankings. When it comes to Texas A&M, we are who we are. We've got our 2 losses. We have 1 Hail Mary. In that Hail Mary alone, if everything went perfect, and I mean, it's highly unlikely perfect, but Alabama loses somewhere, call it Auburn, because Auburn's hosting them. Mississippi State loses another game. They got Arkansas this weekend. Let's just say for kicks and giggles they lose there. A&M wins out. Somehow they play Georgia, and they're like, you know what? We're going to let Stetson Bennett roll, and A&M rolls them. I still don't know if they get in to the final 4 college football playoff spots. If everything went perfect, OB, they should, but I don't know if they would.
Does Mississippi State have to lose?
I think they have to lose one more because they have the tiebreaker with us, right?
Yeah, but if Alabama lost one, then you'd have a 3-way tie, right?
Yes, but I still think there's somewhere I read there's a Mississippi State could. But okay,
if it's a 3-way tie, then wouldn't they look to see who is the most highly rated team, highly ranked
for the SEC? Is that how they do it? Is that the
I don't know.
Okay,
but if that is the case, A&M, I would suspect
absolutely.
If A&M finished 10-2 and Alabama was 10-2, and they're both and Mississippi State, they're all 6-2, and of course we're assuming Alabama loses, and that's a huge assumption. But if that happened, I would suspect that A&M would be the highest ranked team.
Yeah. So if everything went perfect and somehow A&M slayed, and again Georgia, but I don't think it's likely or I'm just saying mathematically. You get to 10-2, you beat Georgia, you're 11-2. Can they hold A&M, who they held out last year with 1 loss? Can they hold them with 2 losses early on in the season, but beating number 1 Alabama at the time and number 1 Georgia at the time? Would they get in?
That'd be a heck of an argument. And the question is, I don't know, because those 2 losses loom really, really big.
Yes,
really
they do.
Huge. But so would 2 wins. Now Alabama's ranking would fall because they've lost to Auburn in this scenario or somebody. So, but it would still be. I was assuming Alabama would still be a top 15 team, and Georgia would be probably number 2 or number 3.
Right.
That would be a heck of a resume. Also, you'd have a win over Auburn, which, having beaten Alabama in this scenario, would have gotten a big bump. So you might have 3 wins over top 15 teams, if that happens.
Let's just hope it happens.
Let's just hope A&M finishes 10-2, and
just win the games in front of you, and let's be happy with that, because anything other than that is what do they say? Icing? I'm not a big dessert guy. Icing on the cake. Yeah.
Gravy.
I'm not a gravy guy either.
Unfortunately, I am.
Gravy, icing. What is another thing in that same ballpark? I'll tell you if I'm a guy or not for that.
I've always heard icing on the cake. If it's gravy. I don't know.
I don't got any more. I don't got any more.
Sure
cherry on top.
Cherry on top.
Cherry on top.
I like cherries. I don't ever go for the cherry, but I like cherry. Cherries are fine.
I always give my wife the cherry.
See, because you're a sweet man.
And then she eats it and then uses
does a little circle thing.
She turns it into a knot with her mouth.
Yeah, my wife can do that too.
Yeah.
That's good times. Hey, I think we're on the radio station now. Zone. Hey guys, hope everyone's.
Can you do that, Ana Rosa?
I cannot. I was just mouthing the words impressive because I can't even touch my tongue to my nose. I cannot imagine or fathom the tongue strength. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Props to Irma.
And Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I'm just baffled.
Oh, this show. It's a good show. It's a really good show, guys. All right, so let's do this. We're going to do the word of the week with Ana Rosa in the next segment, plus games to get into. We got a lot to discuss here on the program and catch you guys up with everything going on here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Now that the radio station's up there, if you want to call the show, you can at 979-693-1150. That is the BCSI hotline. Or you can text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. A&B, a College Station branch the Amarillo National Bank, Good Texas Banking. The website is amb.com. Right now, a moment for the Association of Former Students. We're teaming up with them all the time. You know that. And we cannot wait to pass it back next week. Looking forward to doing all that. They've been around for a long, long time, and they've been helping that Aggie network for a long time. And it's because of gifts from you. The financial gifts from this Aggie network have empowered the association to be here, there, and everywhere for A&M and Texas Aggies everywhere. $125,000 to student organizations. I can keep listing them and listing them and listing them. That's what they do. They just give to everybody out there. And the beauty of it is they do it because you're helping, guys. Your help brings them such a long, long way. And it doesn't cost a lot of money, guys. It's just $100 a year, $9 a month. You're going to get that decal, the plaque, the Texas Aggie magazine. Plus, you're continuing in the oldest, most inspired tradition of Aggies helping other Aggies. And a reminder, Pass It Back Day, Tuesday, November 9th. We're going to be helping out with that, 24-hour days of giving to show the power of that Aggie network. Their goal is 5,000 donors. Go do it. They've got challenges for your class, young alumni, Aggie Rain Challenge, you name it. Be a part of it. It's the Association of Former Students. Welcome back, everybody. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, or TexAgs Stream, as we like to call it. I think we're on the air, so we're going to keep it going and break things down. OB is here, the columnist, and why am I making it so formal? Hey, OB.
Hey,
You know,
I'm just kind of I just call myself a writer. You know, we've had people call me and say, okay, now what do we describe? What's your position? I say, I'm a writer.
You're a writer. You're more than
I
that.
prefer the term word wizard.
Yeah.
Of
Okay, I'll
course.
stop now.
Anna Rosa with her words. Got to show how hip she is. Word wizard.
I
All
just
right.
came up with that off the dome.
So we're discussing the rankings that came out last night, and we'll continue to do that throughout the show. We do have a topic of the day. Anna Rosa, you want to reset the topic, and I'll let people know how you can be a part of it.
I would love to. Our topic is, what did you think of the first college football playoff rankings? Dave in Edmond says, I could have sworn we have been told that who you lose to isn't as important as who you beat. If LSU had one loss last year, they would have been in the playoff. If LSU beat Bama and had 2 losses this year, they would have been in the top 10. LOL.
LOL. All right, good times for that. Let's do this. We're going to continue that topic, and if you want to be a part of it, you can. 979-693-1150, the BCSI hotline, or you can text the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. So, Anna Rosa, you have a word of the week that what was it, like Biggie, Jiggy, what was it?
Chuggy was
Chuggy.
last week's word.
Chuggy. Do you remember what it means, OB?
Yeah, it means chewing a loogie.
Chewing a loogie, which is gross.
I figured there would be no breakthrough with him.
Wait, so actually, I forgot what it meant.
Okay.
Let me work it through. Hold on. Let me try to do the math here in my head. 3 + 4. It means something that's cool.
No, the opposite. It is something that is
Uncool.
no longer cool. Used to
That's
be cool,
right.
out of style.
Gosh, I have no memory. Dementia's starting a lot. Too much Benadryl. All right, so what is this week's word of the
So,
week?
in honor of Aggie basketball coming back into season, I want to go with a phrase that I'm sure you guys have heard of since it's related to sports, called ice in my veins. And I might need to do the pose, which is a little embarrassing, but it's like when you do this. Have you seen people do that? Point to their veins. And that basically just means that you are cold-blooded or clutch, usually referring to basketball players, but you'll see a lot of teenage boys or girls or myself embarrassing myself in doing it. Kobe Bryant is considered to have ice in his veins with his clutch shot.
That's not new.
That
ice water in your veins has been.
Oh,
that's been
Well, I definitely feel like the
hold on
hose has been new.
Maybe
I thought you were gonna have a different word to describe ice in the veins. Ice in the veins was around with George Washington.
Oh, okay.
In fact, he used it. All right,
when they were crossing the Delaware.
Yeah, and Lincoln did it at the Gettysburg Address. All right, so. Seriously, Anna Rosa.
407 years ago, our founding fathers with ice water in their veins.
Yes. Are you real? Hold on. This is embarrassing.
Let's scratch this.
No. You sent me a text message mid-segment. Are we still doing word of the day? And like you were really excited to do a word that was written. Merriam-Webster had it in the original dictionary.
I think maybe Anna Rosa's not as hip as she wants.
Yeah,
wow.
I guess not.
She's the female Gabe Bach.
Wow, that is okay.
Bryce Young once said,
that.
Bryce Jones once said, whenever Gabe says something, it's officially passe.
Chuggy, goodness.
He did kill flossing. I know a lot of people remember that.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. He flossed on video?
Well, he tried. You've never seen that GIF?
Oh, no.
Why don't you just send a text to Brandon Leone when we take a break and ask him about the time Gabe flossed?
He flossed there's video evidence of this?
Oh, yeah. On signing day, on a day that we had a ton of viewers.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
Was he wearing the vest?
Oh, yeah. Marty McFly.
Marty McFly. Gosh. So
Marty McFloss.
So, yeah, Anna Rosa, next week, maybe we choose a word from this century, if possible. Yeah, he's got ice.
Sincere apologies.
You were going and I was like, oh, okay, so the word's coming soon. Like, I thought there was going to be a word for ice water in their veins, and it was ice water in his veins.
She didn't even get the water. She just got so she didn't even get the old one right.
Did you have to Google that?
No, the new one is ice in my veins. I've just heard the term used a lot recently, like in a school setting, so I feel like at least it's acceptable to bring it up again since
next week's word from Anna
Rosa.
Rosa.
Traction
next
again.
week's word from Anna Rosa is tomfoolery.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What's the next word, Anna Rosa?
Hey, I do have a list, so
yeah. Well, your list was updated in 1874.
I might need to run it by someone before we get.
Davy
to the
Crockett
next one.
had ice water in his veins. All right, in 1836. I love to use that date. March 6, 1836.
Dave.
He's good.
Dave Crockett.
God, that guy had
That's
ice.
why I like Tennessee.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He had ice water in his veins. All right, so we've been told we can hit a break. So, I don't know, Dalton, should we continue the full segment? We got about a minute left. How about that? How's that sound to you?
I mean, yeah, whatever.
All right. I'm glad we did programming update here on the air. Good times had by all. So, when we do return on the program, OB, we're going to continue discussing the rankings, but I want to talk about it through a Mississippi State point of view and how that affects A&M, and a little bit more on the Oklahoma rankings. Plus, we got to get into your games to watch this weekend. Am I right in thinking, you can tell us in the next segment, but the biggest and the best game is the game we're going to see right here at Kyle Field, right?
Without a doubt, not even close.
There aren't a lot of great games. Our game's going to be great, but that is without a doubt, to me, the biggest game out there, so I'm looking forward to that. But right now, let's talk about our buddy Chance McClain. I say our buddy because dude's like an Aggie. He didn't go to school here, but his daughter Gunn goes to school here, and he has 100% embraced Aggie culture and just Aggie lifestyle. And it's, his daughter's an Aggie. He's now an Aggie, and all his customers seem to be Aggies too. He tells me like 75% of people who have reached out to him have been Aggies, and there's a reason for that. It's because we kind of care about our history, things that happened back in the day, things that are going to happen, and he captures those stories and he puts them on film and he gives it to you as a family, and it's memories that you can keep forever. Not forget the small details. Get it from the source, right? Your father, your uncle, your boss, whoever it may be, they all got a story, and they've got those little minute details. I tell a story, I think he lived on this street and he went to this. I don't know the facts. My dad has those facts, and we want that filmed and ready to roll and watch it any time we want. And that's why we're teaming up with Chance and Heritage Films. They're going to be coming by our house here in a couple of weeks. Call them up at 713-893-8341. That is 713-893-8341. It is yourheritagefilm.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The College Station High School parents and alumni are hosting a skeet shoot to raise money for scholarships for CSHS FFA students. The event is Saturday, November 13th at the Boswell Porter Range in Caldwell. Shooters and sponsors can register at iClays.com. Join the Brazos County A&M Club for their annual fundraiser, Beats and Barbecue, Saturday, November 13th at Savage Brew Lab in Bryan. The Bryan College Station Friends of the Library invite you to their general book sale November 13th and 14th at the Claire B. Mounts Library. Thousands of books ranging from history to mystery will be available. Visit friendsbcs.org for more information. Win tickets to the A&M Auburn game this Friday from T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC and the Louis Bellina Show. Registration will start at midnight Thursday and end at 2 p.m. on Friday via Zone Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the website. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
The Bryan College Station Chamber of Commerce and title sponsor of the City of College Station invite you to our 2021 annual banquet at the Hilton College Station on November the 8th from 6 until 9 p.m. Featuring a keynote address from Colonel Ross Gibb, Director of the Bush Combat Development Complex at Rellis. Join me, Glenn Brewer, your Chamber President, for an evening of celebration honoring our Citizen of the Year, Irma Cawley, Brazos County Commissioner, our Volunteer of the Year, Mary Mike Hatcher with Bryan Broadcasting, and your new Chamber of Commerce Board Chair, Wade Beckman with Shipwreck Grill, Amico Nave, Third on Maid, and Admiral Catering. We will also be announcing this year's Chamber Ambassador of the Year. Join us for the Chamber of Commerce Annual Banquet on November the 8th. Tickets and table sponsorships are available. Visit bcschamber.org to reserve your spot. That's bcschamber.org.
Hi, this is Jeff Vanderwood with Veribank. Veribank is continuing to grow in the Brazos Valley with a brand new full-service banking center on Highway 6 in front of Academy. We have a team of genuine bankers specializing in personal and business banking, wealth management, and investor real estate lending ready to serve you. Veribank is here to help you succeed financially, and you can bank on it.
Visit Verabank.com today. That's VERA Bank.com. Verabank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Bryan Broadcasting is your home for high school football. Bryan High, A&M Consolidated, Rudder, and College Station High play on the Bryan Broadcasting family of stations. No matter where you are, hear every play, every game, all season long, thanks to Prosperity Bank, Kelly Burt Dozer, Zwerneman Flooring, and BCS Toyota. To find out when and where to hear your favorite team, go to brazosfootball.com.
The best is yet to come in College Station.
2 seconds left. 28-yard attempt by Seth Small. Is down. It is up. And the fight, Texas Aggies take down the top-ranked Tide 41-38.
Join us Saturday. The Aggies host the Auburn Tigers. Our coverage begins at 1:30 on your home for Aggies football, the Texas A&M Sports Network.
Listen to Aggie football on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Online at radioaggieland.com or tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150.
It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and we are on radio. Hi. And we're also on stream. Welcome into the show. We appreciate everybody here on the program. And, yeah, I'm being a little bit of a baby. All good, though. We are going to work our way through the next 2.5 hours of the program. Chris Landry going to be joining us straight up at 9:05. Also, Coach Alan Waddell, 9:35. Bronny in studio at 10:05. And Gabe Bach, 4 downs at 10:35. I got to ask him about this floss. You know, one thing you'll never catch me doing? Flossing. You'll never I floss my teeth at night. Yeah. But I am not going to. Is that even still a thing?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Have you ever flossed?
No.
And on camera?
No. My son did when he was like.
Yeah, well, it's that generation can.
Yeah.
That they can. If you're, I'm trying to think, what's the cutoff? 27 plus, or is it you have to be in the 30s? When officially are you not allowed to floss?
I'll say I thought it'd be more like 15.
15. Okay.
16. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe so.
Like if you're at a frat party, would you floss?
If I'm at a frat party at this age, punch me in the face.
No, well, if you were in your 20s and at a frat party, would you floss?
No.
Probably not if you wanted to have a successful ending to the evening.
No, I would not floss. 100% I would not floss.
Of course, we all have different definitions on what would be a successful ending to an evening.
OB, let's get into some of the big games of the weekend. Where do we want to start this weekend?
Well, as we discussed, the best game of the week is Auburn at Texas A&M. It's the only game, I believe, that's matching ranked opponents. And quite frankly, both teams still have hopes to win the West. A&M would need some help. But even beyond that, if that doesn't work out, both teams have hopes for New Year's Six bowls that are very realistic. And I think the winner of that game, obviously enhances its chances to get into a New Year's Six bowl.
What I've noticed about Auburn and the chatter around it, they remind me so much of the chatter around Arkansas, right? When Arkansas was coming into Jerry's World and play A&M, they were like the darling team, like, hey, this Arkansas team is legit, and A&M wasn't playing A&M football at that point. They still hadn't. I feel that same vibe, even though Auburn's got a couple of losses on their schedule, that people are like really thinking, hey, they could be the team that takes down Alabama, and they're just really pumped up. And to their credit, they do control their destiny. If they win out, they will play Georgia when it's all said and done.
They lost to Penn State and Georgia, right? That's their two losses.
Yeah. Penn State doesn't look very good right now. Neither does Arkansas, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Arkansas struggled. I think Arkansas put everything into that A&M game. It meant so much to them. But A&M's cleaned up a lot of its flaws. There's still some things to do, but it really stacks up as an interesting game. I know what you're saying. There seems to be this momentum among the onlookers to say, man, this Auburn team is really surging without, and I hate to sound like, playing the victim card, but without the same kind of attention paid to A&M.
Right.
When, they only beat Alabama and blew out two opponents.
Yeah, and some people ask me why I still worry about this Auburn game, and I guess the reason I worry is that A&M has dominated two inferior opponents. Early on in the season, they weren't even dominating some of the inferior opponents. That being said, I only worry that was Alabama just a great night, or is this who A&M is? And that's what we're going to find out against Auburn, right? You should have beat South Carolina. You should have beat Missouri. Now you got a game that I think you got a team that's coming in that's ranked higher than you, right? But you should win at home and obviously ranked in the same ballpark.
I believe, and I don't think this is a maroon glasses thing, I believe A&M's got the better football team. But A&M also seems to have some tendencies to hurt itself.
Right.
With turnovers. Zach's throwing an interception every game. So with turnovers, with penalties, you can't miss the field goals, and for the most part, Seth Small's been really good about that. But you're going to have to take it, capitalize on your scoring opportunities, and hopefully minimize penalties and turnovers. If you do that, I think you'll win.
All right, let's go to the next game on your schedule.
And again, there's not a lot of games. I put Michigan State at Purdue.
There's some good reasons for this one.
Yeah, well, Michigan State is, they're surging. They're what did they say? Third in that?
They're third.
Yeah. But they just beat Michigan, and now they go on the road against a pretty decent, not a great, but a decent Purdue team.
A Purdue team at home. That's already knocked off number 2 Iowa.
After you won you mean Michigan State, such an emotional game against Michigan, that strikes me as being just the very definition of a trap game.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're looking at, a lot of trap games, because the next one, Wake Forest at North Carolina. Wake Forest is really doing some great things. They're undefeated, but they gave up 56 points to Army. And now you're going on the road to play, and I know it's not a far trip, but you're going into Kenan Stadium against Sam Howell, and you gave up 56 points to Army. So are you going to be able to, score in the volume that Wake Forest has been scoring in against North Carolina? Maybe, but if you do, are you going to be able to keep Sam Howell and that North Carolina offense from outscoring you?
I saw head-to-head their resume versus Oklahoma, very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar margins of victory. In fact, Wake Forest had a little bit more. But the kind of wins that they have, it was very interesting to see Oklahoma in that light. All right, what else you got?
Okay, how about Oklahoma State at West Virginia? West Virginia's only 4-4. 3 of their losses are by 6 points or less. And Oklahoma State, they've had some real close games. They beat Boise State when Boise State missed a field goal. It got blocked. It was a 36-yard field goal to win the game. They won 21-20, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State struggled with some other teams. So going on the road against a decent West Virginia team that could have and maybe even should have beaten Oklahoma. They had a really bad snap over the quarterback's head when they were driving for a go-ahead field goal late in the game, and that bad snap. Think the same thing that happened to South Carolina against A&M. Mm-hmm. That bad snap cost them the field position, and they weren't able to kick the field goal, and then Oklahoma instead went down. So West Virginia, I think, could win that game. And then Mississippi State at Arkansas. We've seen both of those teams. Mississippi State, just got the big win over Kentucky. And now people are looking at, hey, look at Mississippi State. Hey, what's Mike Leach got going on there? Oh, and that's fine, and they may really finish in a flourish. But now they've got to go on the road to play Arkansas, which, as we know, is not a bad football team. And, they're just trying
they're good at home. Arkansas is really good.
And they're looking to get back. They lost 3 in a row before beating Pine Bluff, which hardly counts. So they're trying to get back on track.
I would add one to that list, and I'm only intrigued because of the chaos happening in Austin, Iowa State, Texas.
I thought about that one too. And I think that could be a really good game, but I'm wondering.
It's only good if they blow a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter to lose.
Which is absolutely, you know what? I have been trying to figure out that game because I keep thinking, Texas gets leads on teams, just can't hold them. So surely that game's coming where they don't choke. But and Iowa State's been kind of a disappointment this year. Yeah, but they got Breece Hall and Charlie Kohler and Brock Purdy, and that Texas defense isn't very good.
What I find interesting about Texas, it doesn't matter who the coach is, Tom Herman or now Sark. Last year, there were several games that came down to a play or two that they could have won, and they had leads in or vice versa, and they ended up losing or winning. I think there was a couple that they won that were, and this year it's rinse and repeat. They could eat, other than Arkansas. They were all very winnable games during this 3-game losing streak.
They lost to Iowa State last year by missing a field goal on the last play of the game. So you're right. They can play close, but they don't. I heard Cedric Golden say yesterday that they're like there's a restaurant in Austin called Katz's, and they're saying Katz's never closes, and Texas should have a banquet there because Texas can't close either.
Right. Yeah. Is it Katz's Deli?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have one in Houston.
Yeah. So they say Katz's never closes there too.
Well, I love the drama behind it. Of course, Texas not winning is fun. And, people who say they live rent-free in your head, people want their rivals to lose. Everybody does. Texas wants A&M to lose. Yesterday on the Twitter timeline, I saw a lot of Dodgers and Yankee fans all over the place, loving the fact that the Astros were getting destroyed, right? That's just what fans do. I like to see more chaos and what it could mean for recruits to maybe change their mind about Texas.
I haven't looked it up, but I'd really be interesting to see what the weather report is for Ames.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if it's a really, really cold day, how that would affect Texas, too.
I'm doing Ames weather on Google, and 31 degrees at the current moment there.
Okay, so I wonder if Saturday, if it'll be as cold or colder.
It looks like Saturday, 66 is the high, 42 is the low, but a sunny, sunny day.
Sunny, so it'll be nice football weather. So
Good, great football weather.
So
yeah.
weather won't be an issue, because if it's that game, is that 11 o'clock game or later?
I believe it's
I don't
11
even know.
a.m.
Maybe I just assume it's 11 because it seems like every game in the Big 12's on at 11. So, but it might be later. But anyway, I just think that Texas defense is really going to struggle with Iowa State's offense. But that could be a high scoring game.
Dalton sent me the floss.
Have you?
That needs to be
is
reported.
It disturbing?
It needs to be reported to HR. That it is just disturbing. It's that's not anything that needs to ever be done again. In fact, I'm appalled.
You know what? But you're talking about it, and that's yeah. Well, of course, we talk about a lot of appalling things, I guess.
Yeah, yes, we do. All right, hey, let's do this. We'll come back and finish out the segments, or finish out the Go Hour with Olin Buchanan. As a reminder, we'll have our good friend Chris Landry joining the show at 9:05. Right now, we'll talk about Milliken Reserve. What a great community, guys. The veggies that I get, Milliken. That's right. You're like, oh, you eat veggies? Yeah, do I? My biggest problem with all the veggies I get from Milliken is I get so many, I don't know which ones to use. You got great vegetables out there, but Milliken Reserve, they are just an incredible community. Their mission is to build a healthy community around nature, and they've done that successfully. They're dedicated to the conservation of that healthy community, and they respect the native landscape and wildlife. 2,600 acres of open space farms, 30 miles of trails and homes. They connect families to nature and to each other. And they've got the equestrian paths, the creeks, the ponds, gathering areas. They're just a wonderful place for your family to love for generations to come. Hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking, equestrian trails, evening yoga, summer camps, music festivals, farmers markets, farmers tours. Go do it there, guys. It is an awesome place, and you can become a member of the Conservancy as well. You'll help to ensure that the native landscape and wildlife, or members only receive benefits like the trails, membership activities, programs, and events. You can learn more about Milliken Reserve at millikenreserve.com.
This is the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
The end of the tax year is near, so if you need maintenance or replacement parts for your construction equipment, WPI has you covered. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades. Any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting for every brand of equipment is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 East at Marino Road, or click WPI.com.
Howdy, y'all. This is Cullen Gillespie, former 12th man. I've always tried to help my team on and off the field, and now I'd like to help Texas A&M fans like you cut their electricity bills in half. Yep, in half. It takes less than 5 minutes, and you'll save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars every year. 90% of Texans overpay for electricity, so don't be one of them. Sign up today at EnergyOgre.com and use code GILLY, G-I-L-L-Y, for a free month of service.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Today, millions of people all across America are building a life in recovery from addiction and mental illness, helping themselves
and helping each other, with friends, family, and community lending their strength and support.
Join the Voices for Recovery.
Together, we are stronger.
For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders, for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Listening to The Zone on your smart speaker is easy. If Louie can do it, anyone can do it. 2 simple steps, and you can hear Chip Howard Sports Talk, TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, or Aggie football, basketball, or baseball on your smart speaker. Step 1, and one time only needed, say Enable Zone 1150 Skill. Then anytime you want to hear your favorite host or teams, all you have to do is say, play Zone 1150. Make sure to set it up and say, Enable Zone 1150 Skill. And then listen in anytime just by saying, play Zone 1150.
Still disturbed by that video that I found of the former host of this show. We're going to have a meeting about that with HR when he's here at 10:35 during 4 Downs. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. OB in the house, Anna Rosa Peterson in the house. We got some text messages to get into here on the A&B text line. We do have a topic out there, but people are texting in support of Anna Rosa. Maybe I'll read that one.
Appreciate it.
But here's the topic of the day. What do you think of the first college football rankings? But then Anna Rosa taught us a word today, or a phrase, or how would you call it? A phrase that's been around since 1634. Actually, 1400.
Probably since ice was invented.
I'm just saying it has gained traction again with the new pose that people do with it.
See, I don't think it ever lost traction.
It never lost traction. They used it. Like you brought up Kobe Bryant, it was used with Kobe. It was used yesterday with Cristiano Ronaldo's game-tying goal for Man U. It was used, it really was used during the Alamo. Like they said that about Crockett. They did. It's written.
And look where he shoots.
Yeah.
He's got ice water in his veins.
He's got ice water in his veins. So, but we got a Peruna in College Station, Texas and says lenient, as in the broadcaster was lenient toward Anna Rosa's choice of words.
All I'm saying is this show continually humbles me, and I probably need it. So
hold on, Anna Rosa, this is the first time, second time I've bagged on you. Second time. What was the other time? There was for something.
You told me I was going to be fired for making fun of you being the
But that was off air. That was off air. I fire everybody.
No, it was playful. It was fun.
Dalton, how many times have I fired you?
Like 27.
Yeah, but it's not a real fire. Like my daughter fires me at home. Literally tells me, "Daddy, you're fired." Like it's just it's all. The only time I have really made fun of you was for using ice water in his veins.
And I can handle it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I think you're a little hurt. I'm
a little hurt. I'm just gonna pick a really good word next week to make up for it.
Like, chuggy was great. Like we learned, even though I forgot what it meant the next day. It was great. All right, so let's get back on topic. What do we got?
Well, back to our topic. Yeah, I think I've learned that I should never be a teacher. But our topic is, what did you think of the first college football playoff rankings? Bayou Ag says tiebreaker is 3-way. Compare records to who was next. Auburn, the Bama would be out. Then it's head-to-head between us and Mississippi State.
Oh, okay. So then that would be Mississippi State.
So we need Mississippi State to lose, but I kind of want them to win a little bit, then lose. Right?
I just want A&M to go 10-2, and then if they don't get in, well, it's your fault for losing.
Sure.
Not going to play that Oklahoma deal, like say, oh, just because we lost shouldn't count. I understand you lost, it counts, but make the best of what's there.
Do you feel really good about them going 10-2?
I do. I feel like A&M is better than every team on their schedule. That just doesn't mean that that you're going to win those games. You have to go out and play well. But I think talent-wise, A&M is more talented than every team remaining on their schedule.
See, I agree with you 100%. I am more worried about Auburn than I was a week ago, and maybe because I read into their victory over a beat-up Ole Miss team more than I should.
I think it's because they're playing Auburn in 3 days.
Yeah, that's probably why. But then, conversely, I feel better about the Ole Miss game
next week.
Until next week, and then I'll be petrified. But I'm like, well, Ole Miss, they got some injuries. Matt Corral's ankle, maybe, blah, 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 blah. But it's still on the road in the SEC, which is obviously.
They're all going to be. I think A&M has a better team. I don't think A&M can play average to win any of those games. They're going to have to play well. You're going to have to. You have more talent, but you got to play well.
You have to.
Nothing's going to be easy in the SEC unless every now and then there's a blowout. But you can't go into any game, save if you have Vanderbilt on your schedule. And even that wasn't easy for A&M last year.
Right.
It's the SEC. It's what you signed up for. It's why Texas is going to be losing even more when they get over here.
Well, and here's the other thing. And two things can be true. These games are a little bit more nerve-wracking because of the way A&M plays. Mm-hmm. Games are typically tight last season and this season a lot until the fourth quarter, right? And they suffocate you in the fourth quarter, which means for 3 quarters, I'm biting my nails, worried about what's going to happen. Fourth quarter, they dominate. But the thing that people hurt A&M's resume last year, even though I disagreed with it, was they didn't have these like 45-0 wins that, that games were a little closer until they just snapped you at the very end.
Yeah. In that game against Auburn last year, it was A&M mistakes that kept Auburn in the game. I remember they got down to the 1-yard line. I can't remember if they got stopped or if they kicked the field goal and Seth Small missed it. They had chances to put the game away or pull away early and didn't.
Yep.
And then, so that's what I mean. You got those opportunities, you got to cash in on them. But would you trade A&M's defensive line for Auburn's?
No.
Would you trade? I mean, Auburn has good running backs, but would you trade them for A&M's?
No.
No.
No, I think Tank is really good. I'd still take our guys all day.
Right. Would you trade A&M's receivers for Auburn's?
No.
Now, at this point, you'd probably take Bo Nix.
Yeah.
At this point. But
Zach's our guy.
Offensive line?
No, I like our offensive line.
They're more experienced, but A&M's guys are probably more talented and coming along now. So I just think A&M has more talent and
the better coach. Yeah, and I think Harson's doing a fine job. That's no shot at Harson, but I just think Jimbo, as I said when I started this show and even during the tough times, one of the top 3-4 coaches in all of college football.
If you miss field goals or if you have big penalties or if you turn the ball over, you can lose.
That's so big.
There's a Kubota for every job. There's a Kubota for every harvest. There's a Kubota for every task. And at Normandy Tractor, for a limited time only, take the drive to Normandy, Texas, and let Vernon and the boys show you what they have. Get the new Kubota BX 1880 16.6 horsepower tractor and a Kubota loader with a quick attach bucket now through December 31st, 2021. For a cash price of only $12,950 or payments as low as $170 per month. With no money down, based on 0% down, 1.99% APR for 84 months. Normandy Tractor has over 8 acres of Kubota tractors, Kubota RTVs, ATVs, and Kubota mowers to choose from. They're at the corner of Highway 39 and OSR in Normandy, Texas. And remember, nobody beats Normandy Tractor. Nobody.
Now through December 31st, 2021. For warranty terms, see Kubota's limited warranty at KubotaUSA.com or your Kubota dealer.
This is Aggieland's home for Aggie football, Aggie basketball, and Aggie baseball. The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Plus online at RadioAggieland.com. This is KZNE College Station, Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. Voters in College Station ISD passed 3 of 4 bond issues in yesterday's election. Nearly 7,000 out of 64,000 registered voters came out. The only proposition that failed involved renovating high school football stadiums. CSISD voters also elected 2 new board members, Blaine Decker and Darren Payne. College Station city voters have a runoff to decide. David Levine and Dennis Maloney are the finalists for the place 6 seat after neither received 50% plus 1. The winner of the Place 4 council seat was Elizabeth Cunha, and 2 of 3 charter amendments passed. The one that failed was moving council elections to odd-numbered years. Almost 2/3 of nearly 6,000 voters were opposed. Blinn College trustees ask about expanding food truck service for students after noticing a successful operation at the home campus in Brenham. Chancellor Mary Hensley says food service is available on the Bryan campus. She told the trustees she will ask the A&M system if Blinn could operate food trucks on the Rellis campus.
I was talking to some Rellis people about the concept of putting a kind of a blend truck out there, and perhaps Blinn could operate it rather than a restaurant. So we'll see where that discussion may lead, because Rellis does have a desire for food access.
Dr. Hensley said private restaurants in an arrangement with the system did not get enough business with fewer people on the Rellis campus. Trustees are also told a second food trailer is being built for the Brenham campus. A Brazos County District Court convicted then sentenced an Oklahoma City man for strangling then assaulting a 2-month-old child and strangling the baby's mother. The jury gave 29-year-old Justin Tucker 8 years in prison, crimes that took place in College Station in July of 2018. According to the district attorney's office, the woman ended a relationship with Tucker, and she was moving out of the house they shared when she and the infant were attacked. Jurors also heard from 2 other women about how they were attacked in 2012 and 2019. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
The end of the tax year is near, so if you need maintenance or replacement parts for your construction equipment, WPI has you covered. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades. Any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting for every brand of equipment is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 East at Marino Road, or click WPI.com.
Join the American Heart Association for the Brazos Valley Go Red for Women Luncheon. On Thursday, November 4th, you'll learn how you can take charge of your heart health and empower others to do the same. Guest speaker is well-known humorist and motivational speaker Sally Baskey. Go Red for Women is presented nationally by CVS Health and locally by the Donald A. Adam Family Foundation. Go to brazoscountygored.heart.org for more. See you November 4th.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Let's take a sneak peek at the SEC, brought to you by T-Mobile. Texas A&M football comes in at number 14 in this year's first CFP poll. Georgia and Alabama are 1 and 2, followed by Auburn at 13, the Ags at 14, Ole Miss at 16, and Mississippi State at 17. Kentucky rounds things out for the conference at number 18. And that's been your SEC Sneak Peek, brought to you by T-Mobile, the official 5G sponsor of the SEC. Now, in staying on the gridiron, the Aggies are playing with a whole lot of confidence right now, having rolled off 3 straight wins. However, tight end Jalen Watermeyer says there was a moment of doubt during the team's early season struggles.
We tried to build our confidence, and I had to be a leader. I had to step up and say, hey, and players to me like Anais and Isaiah try to keep my confidence up with stuff like that. So, yeah, after the 2 losses, that's when our confidence went down, but I feel like we regained that.
Jalen and the 14th-ranked Ags will host number 13 Auburn this Saturday at Kyle Field. To get coaches' take, tune into the Jimbo Fisher Coaches Show tonight from 8 to 9 on 1620 94.5 WTAW. And women's basketball is back at home this evening to host Oklahoma Baptist for an exhibition. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock at Reed Arena. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family.
Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
Welcome back, TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Time to talk a little A&M Auburn with our good buddy Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com, the Texas A&M scouting report here on the BCSI hotline. Chris, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, man. Look, I know you're more of a football guy, what happens on the field, but just some early thoughts on what you saw from the rankings last night.
A lot of overreaction, which is what they want. They want the excitement. Obviously, nothing's going to stay the same. What you take out of it is Cincinnati's, basically out of it. There's really no way they can move in it unless everyone just has to implode around them. That's what you would take out of it. I mean, Wake Forest is in the same boat. I think the reactions people have asked me about since last night is my Oklahoma. Yeah, but Oklahoma is going to live or die with the rest of their schedule. They've got Oklahoma State, they've got Baylor, they got Iowa State, and then they got a Big 12 championship game if they get to that point. So they play themselves right in or out. I mean, and so they go from 8 into the 4, if they win. And I shouldn't say no problem because it's a problem winning those 4 games. But, Michigan State, Ohio State takes care of themselves. One's in, one's out. Georgia could lose the conference championship game and still get in. Obviously Alabama's, I think needs to win. I would expect they need to win. So look, in Oregon, Ohio State, that is important. I think the head-to-head. I do think there's a scenario where Oregon could beat out Ohio State if they don't both get in, if it comes to that. And that would be that if Oregon were to really be impressive and win the Pac-12 and Ohio State was not that impressive so that it was really close, you can make that head-to-head count. Head-to-heads count, and they should count. And I think they honor that, but it is part of it, of the whole big picture. So that's my take of it. I think Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Michigan State, Ohio State, and Oregon. I would say Ohio State doesn't completely control their path, so to speak, but most of those teams kind of control their path, so to speak. If they win Michigan State, Ohio State, obviously they knock one another out, I think. So yeah, I think it's pretty simple to me who can get in and who can't. But we got a lot of football left, and November is it in terms of we see this thing flip around, so much. If you go back and look at the number 1s and the number 2s and the number 3s and number 4s in the first rankings of every year, they don't look the same when it's done on early December. So we'll see.
Chris, humor me for a minute. This is a very hypothetical, looking at this fake crystal ball of mine here, right? Let's just pretend for a moment A&M runs the table. Alabama somehow loses to Auburn, and A&M is the team in the SEC championship game. Again, this is a lot of things have to happen, but I just want to play it out for a moment. And they somehow beat Georgia. Could a 2-loss A&M team with wins over Georgia and Alabama, but losses early on to Arkansas and Mississippi State, could they get into the college football playoffs?
I don't think so, but you can't answer that question in the vacuum. What happens to all the other teams?
Right.
It's, the scenario is very impressive to win out. The losses are what they are as well. I think that is probably, if there's maybe only one team that would have a chance, and that would be Alabama. And like it or not, it's based upon the name brand and the fact that we know they're good, and they lost to Georgia. I mean, it almost would be. I don't even think that would fly. But again, what's Michigan State? What's Ohio State doing? What's Oregon doing? I mean, you got Cincinnati that, I hate to put it this way, you can throw in there as a, hey, look, an olive branch. They're unbeaten. Nobody else is taking the mantle. But, again, do you have 4? Right now, I see that you got a lot of people into who could maybe be that in that spot, but I just don't see that many. So the short answer is no. But could I create a scenario on top of what you said? I guess I just don't really see that now.
Now, and again, I want to remind folks, I'm just saying that because I like to play, just role play for a moment. I don't think that's how it's going to all play out. But let's go now to A&M Auburn this weekend. What did Auburn do to make life so hard for Ole Miss?
Well, first of all, Auburn's gotten a lot better, and it's really a great job of coaching. The offensive line is much better coached than it has been. They utilize the tight end so effectively in the run game, and they really leak them out in the passing game. They move the pocket with Bo Nix, and he's so effective. It gives them some high-low reads. It gives them some ability to make some plays outside the pocket. The receivers, everybody criticized it, and I absolutely knew why he was doing it. He was talked into keeping the receiver coach when he got the job as a recruiter, and it was a poorly coached position. I still don't think they have guys that consistently win. I don't think they're that good at receiver, but they're better coached. And I've seen now a few games in, a few practices on top of that. You see how much better they're getting. They work back to the quarterback very well. They've simplified things offensively and defensively. They're a very good team. They've got an outstanding linebacking core. They're physical up front. They break on the ball very well underneath. I do think, they've got an outstanding nickel that can cover the slot and really does a good job supporting the run. This is just a very well-coached, solid physical team. What they did against Ole Miss is they defended well in the red zone. Now, I know Matt Corral wasn't completely healthy, but they did run him, but they hit him, and they made him pay. And, he wasn't able to be as effective in the red zone. So that's the difference. That's what really happened in that game. If you looked at it, they made some plays Ole Miss did against Auburn's defense, but they couldn't, come up big in the red zone. And that to me was the difference in the game. And I thought they were able to run the football. Look, Ole Miss's defense is not that good. The fact that they, played well against LSU was not an indicator. You can run the football, and to the point of where I'm guessing you're probably going is, you can run the football here. You can run the football, and I think that I think if you're patient enough, you can have some success. And I think the tempo bothered Auburn a little bit defensively, but not a whole lot. It was a really good performance on both sides of the ball. It's a good team. It's a really good team. You had a bye week to kind of prepare for it and rest up. So I think the Aggies are a little bit better, and I think they're in better position. And I think defensively, they can have some success. And I'm very curious to see what they do. You got to keep Bo Nix in the pocket as much as you can and prevent the improvisational plays, which they excel at, quite frankly.
So I was going to ask you, where are they vulnerable against Auburn? Is it there at the quarterback spot, the fact that Bo Nix can improvise so well?
Absolutely. And look, they're not afraid now to employ him in the running game. Now, he's more run to throw than run to run. But if it's a 3rd and 3, he'll pull it down. So you got to be real careful. And, when you can go into a lot of man or pattern matches underneath, you can lose sight of the quarterback. He's not going to run crazy, but he can extend a play. He can extend a drive with his feet. But for him, it's more about extending outside the pocket so that he can get his receivers who have trouble winning off the line of scrimmage and winning on their route, extend the play where you can't cover it as long. So, I think the pressure has to be really exact, meaning I think you've got to really rush from the outside in and hem him in the pocket as much as you can. If you do that and you muddy the pocket, that's where he's more prone to make mistakes, and that's where he's thrown over the middle, and that's where you can have some picks and certainly defending the football over the middle.
Early on in the season, some of the Aggie playmakers weren't making plays, and I'm talking about Jalen Watermeyer early on, but he recently has been playing the way A&M expected him to play. What has changed? Is it the fact that they're moving Zach a little bit out of the pocket and allowing him to throw on the run, or what is different?
Well, I think a couple of things. That is certainly part of it, but it's also, too, they're playing a little bit better up front, so they're a little bit more comfortable releasing him. So when you're struggling up front, you tend to want to have a little more chipping with the tight end before he releases, and that delays, getting out on routes. Right now, I think they're impacting him more into the passing game element, which is what they've wanted to do all along. But at times you don't have the luxury of doing it when you can't protect well enough. So I think he's been a real positive in both the run and pass game, and a real big playmaker for him. I mean, in the type of offense that they want to run, and they want to work that layered passing game, and they want to obviously sustain drives, he's a big factor of it. So he's played well, but the play around him, not just quarterback play, but the play up front, has contributed to that.
All right, talk to me about Matt Corral, who was a little banged up, obviously, in the game against Auburn. They got Liberty this weekend. I'm not sure what his status is, if they're going to play him or not, or how much they'll play him. But how much is he hindered?
Oh, I think he's beat up. I think he's battered, bruised. I don't know the extent of that there's anything like serious that needs, him to sit out. I think it's just more toughing it out. I think if you watch him, he looks, a little gimpier. I mean, he is a competitor, but he's not quite as explosive. And my understanding, he's got both ankles that have been problematic for him. So that's going to certainly affect him. I don't know how much they are going to need to run him this week. Liberty's got an outstanding quarterback, and the defense is not very good. So this is a game that is important for a lot of personal reasons, and for Ole Miss and for Lane, and having you look at it, and it's funny how the dynamics change, right? I mean, they basically, Ole Miss played Tennessee and Arkansas. There was nothing separated those teams. I mean, they were just, it could have gone either way. They won both of those, and then it's, Ole Miss. They lose, and now people are kind of throwing back, well, they lost to Auburn, and they could have lost those two. And so now I think finishing strong is something that's really paramount for them. I don't know how much he's going to play, and then obviously don't know how effective he's going to be or how healthy he's going to be next week.
We're talking to Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com, Texas A&M scouting report here on the BCSI hotline. It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. How much interest do you have in this LSU-Bama game? Because this is a game throughout the years that meant everything, right? The West, and this year, not the same kind of intrigue.
Yeah, it was the feature game usually in the league for a while, and that's where LSU has been to this point. I mean, look, I watch games for a lot of different reasons, so I don't know how. I don't think it's going to be a very good game. I think the motivational level and kind of the as I use the phrase, the let go of the rope at LSU is probably going to lead to a bloodletting here. Both have had a bye week, but my sense is that Alabama will take this. And what's interesting to me, what I get out of it is just the focus of Alabama, how much better that they get. This has been by their standards, a little inconsistent, a little up and down team. And so I think the biggest threat would be, Auburn against them, but I don't see them losing at least until they get to the conference championship game. And I'm curious to see how much better and how much more consistent they get, to that point, or if they were to play poorly and lose. That's kind of what I'm looking for with them in this game.
So kind of going back to the rankings, but looking ahead here, Mississippi State getting that 17th spot. For A&M, that loss doesn't look as bad as it did early on. They got a game against Arkansas that Arkansas is not playing the same kind of football we saw early on. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, a little bit of a contrast in styles like we saw last week. And one of the things on my on LandryFootball.com, I kind of broke down the game against Kentucky in Mississippi State. It's the contrast in styles. And so how this is going to play out is, okay, if you can get some early points and make them play from behind, that's going to be difficult. I think it's much the same here. I think Arkansas's, they've had some injuries. They're not quite as consistent in the passing game, and Mississippi State's playing well. The biggest thing and the shocking thing, and it makes me wonder, has Mike figured this out? 35 runs last week. That was, forget the winnings, the loss. Staying committed to the run. They ran the football well, and that I think that's the biggest problem that Mike's had is his aversion to that. And I know the short pass game, but you've got to be able to have game control, because I think the defense is better than most people think. So, yeah, but look, this is a Mississippi State team that also, they beat A&M, lost to LSU. So it's very inconsistent too. So I think this game's going to be a little interesting, and Arkansas had a little time to kind of heal up a little bit.
Chris, last thing for you. Will Georgia run for about 400 on Mizzou? Because we saw that rush defense not very good.
They're awful. Yeah, they really are bad. And I think it's going to be ugly. Georgia can run the football very, very well. And, Missouri, they don't get off blocks very well at all. They are bad. They are kind of in that lower level with South Carolina, Vanderbilt, bad defensively.
There he is, Chris Landry, the Texas A&M Scouting Report. We appreciate you, sir. We'll see you next week.
Thanks so much. Take care.
You too, my friend. Chris Landry here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Always appreciate what he brings to the program. And obviously on the message boards, people always comment about how much insight he brings to the table. One text message did come in. Dave in Edmond says he strongly disagrees with Chris on OU. They do not control their own destiny. If they win out, they're not guaranteed a spot. They need teams in front of them to lose. That isn't controlling your destiny. I think he's saying that the committee, though, will look at them a little bit more favorably if they do continue to win, especially if they win games against Baylor and who else? And obviously Bedlam taking on Oklahoma State. So we'll get into that a little bit more here throughout the program. Right now, though, I want to have everybody text radio to 833-638-6248 for your chance to win the Big Friday giveaway. That is courtesy of our friends at Aggieland Outfitters, and you'll want to win this one. We're going to unveil that winner during the 10 o'clock hour of the Friday show. It is the Texas A&M Champion Texas Aggies Gray Power Blend Crew Neck. Say that 24 times and see how that comes out. It's a beauty. I use that word beauty a lot, but it really is. It kind of reminds me old school sweaters back in the day. It's been a little cold. It's been getting colder. Imagine wearing this Saturday here for the 2:30 start against Auburn. It's super comfortable. All the stuff that they have at Aggieland Outfitters is very comfortable. Crew neck comes in gray, Power Blend material, and Power Blend material is the way to go when it comes to this stuff, guys. It's got the printed in maroon and white on the front saying Texas Aggies. The crew neck, it's going to keep you warm. It is just a very nice piece of clothing that you can support your Aggies, wear it everywhere, and make sure you visit Aggieland Outfitters to pick it up. It is Aggieland Outfitters.
It's TexAgs Radio, weekday mornings from 8 to 11 here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Since 1957, Slovacek Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovacek is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovacek. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovacek Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
Does the insulated glass in your windows refuse to come clean no matter how hard you work? If so, the glass unit has probably lost its seal. You might notice moisture between the panes, a hazy look, shadows, or even the growth of some white mold. If so, it's time to call your friends at Intercon. Not only are these conditions unattractive, but you no longer have an insulated barrier in your windows. There are a number of options available to you to remedy lost seals. Most options allow you to retain your existing window frame and just replace the bad glass with a new sealed unit. Clear insulated glass offers an insulating pocket, but no protection against solar heat gain. Low E insulated glass adds a coating between the sheets of glass. The coating blocks about 80% of the solar heat gain, as well as the damaging UV rays of the sun. Another option is to trade out the entire window frame with a premium vinyl window. Since Intercon does both glass and windows, we can offer you a full complement of options. Call Intercon to get a free quote from a locally owned and managed business.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help you keep your home energy efficient year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Lance Lester at the Lester Group, Zwerneman Flooring, and The Sleep Station. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
I've got a math question for you.
When you add tolerance, subtract prejudice, and multiply efforts to treat one another with respect, what do you get? Less division. And school sports have it down to a science. Looking for an example of what can happen when we realize there's more that unites us than divides us? Look no further than high school sports in Texas.
This message presented by the Texas University Interscholastic League and the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country. And Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Polaris Fun Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV. Or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XD1000. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not actors. The voice of the SEC. And you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays from 2 to 4 on The Zone.
Hello, greetings, cheerio. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, guys, we got to get our YouTube page, our subscribers past 7,000. We've been at 6.7 for a little bit. So let's get up there. So if you are listening to the show, subscribe to our YouTube page. We do have some great content that goes up there, and it's also a different way to watch the show when you're at home or maybe at the office. So that just gives you some options for that first hour and a half of the program. Of course, you can watch it all live on TexAgs.com. Become a premium subscriber. Go to the live page. You can watch it all right there. And, of course, you can also check us out on The Zone here. A couple things to get into this segment. As I mentioned, this is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's now go to the A&B text line and the News and Social Center with Anna Rosa Peterson. We've got a topic about the rankings that came out yesterday. A lot of people chiming in on that. Anna Rosa?
Yes, we do have some reactions. Trey and Shiner says top 4 is okay for the most part, but Auburn really concerns me. Nix was looking like Johnny last week, and Calzada will need to have some ice water in his veins if we are going to win. We need to get the pole assassins monkey to spank them Tigers.
Okay. Do you know about the pole assassin?
I do.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that was not our finest moment on the radio yesterday.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
The monkey?
Well, I enjoyed listening to it. I wasn't here for it. But.
It was a little difficult. That all being said, this is what I will say about Auburn. We just heard from Chris Landry, who I think is spot on with all of his takes. He's usually really, he's just awesome. And he said A&M's got a better team. What concerns them is Bo Nix, as it should concern you. But you are who you are. And yes, Bo has played well this year, but Bo's also the same guy they took out of a game before, right? So what I'm going to say is don't make dumb mistakes. If you limit mistakes, you win that game at home because I think you're a better team. I think you can run the ball on Auburn. I think you can limit. If you force Bo to be in the pocket passer guy, I think their receivers aren't that good. You're going to win this game. Just don't be dumb. Auburn has impressed me with the way they've been playing much better football. And if we give A&M credit for the way they've been playing football, you got to give Auburn credit for the way they've kind of turned their season around, if you will. Because these two teams are not the same teams we saw early on. What was it, Georgia Southern, that they almost lost to after their Penn State game? So they're playing better than that. All that being said, I think you just take care of the ball. You're going to win that game. It's the bottom line. If you play smart football, you're the better team. Zach, be efficient. Let's not have a turnover. I'm asking for things. Let's not have a turnover. If you don't turn the ball, you're going to win the special teams battle. At the very least, they're going to kick it so nobody can do anything. Right? They're going to limit what A-Chain does. They're going to try to limit what Anaya Smith does. But they get an opportunity, they're going to make them pay. Right? I think you have the better defense. I think most people would say that. And maybe they have the more accomplished quarterback, but the pieces around the quarterback at A&M are better. So don't make mistakes. You win that game. You win that game at home, and you continue to move up. Anna Rosa, what else?
So we have a question from John in League City who asked, why is A&M never called the darling of the media like you've said about Auburn and Arkansas?
OB kind of told me during the break, and I think he's right. A&M was the darling of the media in 2012 during the Johnny days before Johnny's legend kind of erupted and 2013 happened. So I think we have been. That was our first year in the SEC. Sometimes it goes to what the expectation is going into that season. Now, nobody thought A&M was going to win the SEC last year, and they turned that season around. So I was a little surprised why the media didn't really jump on it. But I think there was some hostility towards Jimbo still for his contract and for the fact that he would leave a blue blood, which is not, in Florida State for A&M. I think that's been some of the reasons for it. But you keep winning, you're going to have some people on your side. You're going to look. The Astros who lost yesterday, they embraced the villain role. A&M is not the villain here at all. They're just they're just not appreciated the way we think that they should. And you know what? Fine. I think last year they were robbed of one of those Final Four spots, and they didn't get it, and the committee got it wrong, and it was proven to be that way. But whatever. We're here now, and you beat Auburn, you beat Ole Miss. You're going to be one of those darlings again, the way you turn that season around. That to me, it's that simple. Right now, let's talk about smiling. Hey, I'm a terrible smiler. I had Invisalign back I feel like when ice water in your veins was cool to say back in the 80s. But I did have it done. It was awesome. It was an easy experience. And my kids have had braces, or they are having it right now. The twins are. The girls will probably have it at some point. And you know where we're going to go, Elms Orthodontics. Cruz went there recently. Had some work done, good stuff there. They're on the bypass in College Station, and they're just a great, great place and awesome people. You've got Dr. Elms, who's been here in this community, class of 86, mainstay, just does wonderful work, 16-time Best of the Brazos winner. They've treated so many patients, thousands of patients, Invisalign braces. You got Dr. Jeremy Stewart as well, does amazing work. He's just a great, great guy who, I texted back and forth with him a couple weeks back, just an awesome dude. And you can go there right now, get a free consultation for you, your wife, your kids. Get that smile fixed, guys. It's really important. 1501 Emerald Parkway in College Station. The phone number for Elms Orthodontics, 979-693-6300, or learn more online at drelms.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Museum of the American GI invites you to their History in Motion event on November 13th and 14th. This action-packed weekend has fun activities for the entire family. Do you need help with a Thanksgiving meal? Text BV Thanksgiving to 41444